I hope my screen is visible. So today the topic we are going to discuss is like till now we are using this XML file to connect to the database. So this is like a lengthy procedure and someone is not comfortable with XML sometimes. So it needs us to remember all the tags and where to use, what is the name to use, everything. So now we are going to do one thing, that is the application without configuration file. So that will be achieved using the annotations only. We have all the annotations in Spring, those we can use, and we can achieve the project as it is as the configuration file. So let me create a what can I say, for package for this application. So new package. Where is it? Package. So package name I am giving no XML, because here we are not using any XML file. That's why I am giving no XML. So here what I will do is I will create a main file first. This is our main where we execute our code, and one more class as an entity. Like till now we have the entity, right, like a student or employee. So like that we'll take one entity, that is student. And now one more thing we'll take, that is the configuration file, but it is not an XML. It is a Java config file. So I'm taking it as Java config, and it is also a class. It is not a XML file. So here we're going to write the configuration for the project. So first we'll complete the student, then we'll go for the configuration file. Yeah, student is as usual. So nothing to discuss much. You know how to use the student. So first, to make the student as a component, we should use the annotation, that is component. So this is like an entity, but here we are not using any XML file. That's why I'm declaring it as a component. So this means this is the main component of the program, and it will be having the all attributes. So whatever we want to access. So for now, I'm just taking only single attribute, that is ID. And what I will do is I will just create mm, setters and getters. So getters and setters for the ID, select it and generate. And then we can create a constructor and then a method. So we are going to you access the method only to print the values. So let me create a constructor with field, that is ID, and done. Now here I will declare a method, that is public void display or show anything. So I'm taking show, and here I will just simply print a statement. Println here. Let me print student is reading or something. So student is reading. So this is a line we wanted to display when we run the show using the object. So if we want one more also, we can simply do one thing, that is we can create one more class to access other class also. So let me create a class, and here let us do one thing, take this class as ID and finish. So if it is a class, we will be having a method inside the class. So that method will be some simple public void display. Display. And here will be printing some simple line. Mm, Student ID class. So I'm just saving. This is a simple class ID and it is having a display method and it is printing a simple line. Now what I will do is I just change this variable to object. So to access that ID is here now. So this class object will make here. That's how we can access both the class. So here what I will do is I'll just take class name ID and this ID will be the object to the this class. So for this object, now we'll create the setters and getters. So this is for accessing both class with one object. So that's why you can see this is the getter and setter for the ID. ID is nothing but not a parameter here. It is an object to this class. And after that, we can also take the constructor for the ID only. And now what we'll do is this method is belongs to student, but we also wanted to access this method inside the ID. So how I will do is I will just simply use this ID object in the student, and using that object I'll simply call the that display method there. So let me do ID dot display. So when we call this method, this should be accessible. One second. Okay. Constructor is here, setters and getters, and then we are calling the ID also. Fine. This method will be printing this one, and when we call this method, we are also calling the display. So this should also be printed. We are expecting this should also be printed. And after that, we have completed ID and then this one. And now we see the configuration file, how it will be looking like. So coming to configuration file. So basically, when we are working with XML, we will take the XML and we will be creating beans there. So the same thing we should do here in the configuration, but we'll be following a different procedure. So first we'll make this file a configuration file by using the configuration annotation. If we are using this annotation, the project will know this is the configuration file for this project. So after this reading this annotation, the project will understand the configuration for the project is available here only. So the configuration, how it will look like. Coming to XML, I will just open that also, one of the XML, this one. So coming to XML, you can see we are using bean tag to create the bean. Bean is nothing but a reference now. So but coming here, we will use the bean annotation. So if we use the annotation, that time whatever written below this will be considered as a bean. So let me write for ID first. So the configuration like bean for ID will be looking like public ID because it is the object. So I'm taking the class name and get ID. This is the method I'm using. And now it will return the object, nothing but reference. So new ID. So whenever we want the reference to ID, this bean will be called and this ID will be returned to the project. And for the student also, if we want to create the bean, we should take one more. So it is for student class. So for student class, we should use student as the return type. That is student type of object. So student. And the method I'm using, student get student. And inside this I'll just simply return student object. So before returning student object, what we'll do is here in the student we have the attribute is ID. So we should pass this ID to the student. So however we do in the XML file, we used to refer the object also now. Let me take one more where the repairing is taken. Okay, see, if this class wanted one more object, we just passed it using reference. So here also configuration file student class required object to id also. So here also we should pass the id. So how will pass that? Let us see. So before returning, what we'll do is we just take student and the object to student is student, and then here we are creating object to student. Then here we will be passing id to the like object to the id also, which is the parameter inside student. So parameter inside student is id now, which is object to id class. So this we need to pass here. So how will pass? We will call this method anyways, this is returning the object. So we'll just simply call get id, and here this get id will be returning id to the id class. That's how we are passing this id to student, and this student will be returned from this method. Is this clear, or should I tell one more time?
Tell one more time.
Fine. Student spelling save it. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is we wanted to create object to the student class without configuration file. Here we are using Java configuration to create object to student. And at the same time, we also wanted to inject one more bean to student. That is nothing but ID class, this one. So we required two beans and one bean to be injected to the student also, like this one. So here we have created address bean and student bean, and we are inserting address bean to student bean here. So the same procedure here also, we want student bean and id bean, and we need to inject the id bean into student bean. So that we are achieving using the bean annotation. And here first we have created bean to id class. So id class want a bean of id object. So that we are getting using this method public, and id which is the class name, nothing but type of object. And this is the method, whatever name you want you can take. And this method will be returning id, that is nothing but the bean is successfully created. So this bean we need to pass to the student bean. For that we have created one more bean, that is nothing but student type, and here we will return student bean. But the one main thing is we need to pass this new id to the student bean now. That's why we are creating bean here. And here in the bean, like constructor, we are passing the bean to id also. This is like injecting this bean to this bean. And after that this student is having bean to id and bean to student. This new student is the reference to student, and at the same time reference to id. These both are assigned to this student object, and now we are returning the student object. So now whenever we are injecting the student object, we can able to access both student class and id class, because the student object only have the student object and then id object also. Now it is clear.
Yeah, clear.
Yeah, sometimes if we have so many packages and we do like we wanted to tell our what can I say project, so where to scan for the beans. So like that, if we have any situation, that time we should use one more annotation, that is component scan. So yesterday also in the configuration we have used the component scan, but whenever we are working with the configuration file, that is Java configuration class also, we need to scan the packages sometimes it required. So if that is the case happens to you, you should use component scan annotation. And here you should pass the package name. So how will pass? We have the attribute, that is base packages. Base packages equals to, what is our package name? NoXml. So this will pass. This is when we have multiple packages and we wanted to tell our program where to scan. That time we should use it. Now it is not required for us. So I'm just commenting it, but I have added the line for your understanding. Okay. And now we'll go to main and we try to get the bean from the Java configuration class, this one. So we should get bean from here to main. So that how it will be happen, we'll see now. So the procedure is same, the application context and everything is similar. So let me create application context and import this one, and then new class path XML application context, import this. And the thing you need to remember is here in the previous examples when we are using XML file, we used to pass the path to XML, but now we are using the configuration class for the beans. So here we will be going to pass class name, that is where we have created beans in Java configuration.java now. So this have the beans, so we need to pass this class to this main. So here how will class, we simply take Java config, the name of the class, dot class. So this will allow us to pass the class to main. Java config dot class. Yeah, that's it. What is the okay? I just followed the previous one. Sorry for that. So I need to tell that that is when we are using XML, we should use XML. You can also see the class name itself as XML. But here we are not using any XML file now. So this name will be changed here as the annotation file. So that name is annotation config application context. So why annotation? Because all these configuration, bean, and here component, everything is annotations only. So when we are creating our beans using only annotations, we should use annotation config application context. When we do the same thing with XML file, we should class path XML. So for XML, it is XML, and for configuration, like annotation configuration, it is annotation configuration. So according to name only you can remember for which we required what. So now we are successfully passed the like class name to it, and then the next step is same. We are going to create object to student and we'll get the object. So student st equals to use the context only and dot get bean. So here for getting bean, the two things we need to do, one is pass the previously we need to pass the bean name, but here we should pass the method which is returning the bean. So that is here you can see the method which is returning student bean is get student now. So just copy it and go here, just paste here, get student the method name. After that, we need to do the typecasting. So you can simply control one and add the typecasting. If you don't want to add this, the other procedure we have, that is here we need to pass the class name. So if you do the typecasting also fine, or if you pass the class name here also fine. This is nothing but doing casting to the student. And after this, we can call all the methods using this st now. So just simply use that st and print call the method in the student, that is show. So I will simply st dot show, and then I will run this code and we'll see what is the output we are getting. So you can see student id class and student id student is reading, but it was d mistakenly, student is reading. So we are calling only show, but how we are able to access id also? Because in the show method only we have called the id dot display. This id is we are getting from this ID, this object. So this we are assigning here in the object get ID. So doing all this, we are able to access another class ID, that is student ID class. So is this clear how I did?
It's clear.
Yeah, this is how we can skip the XML file and we can simply use these Java annotations to create complete project. And one more thing I wanted to ask, did you completed the yesterday's one? Two methods we left now. Is that completed? What is that? ORM example, right? So ORM source. So should I tell these or you will complete yourself? These two things, view students and view one student. So will you do or should I do it? Please respond. If you want me to tell, I will tell you. No issues. Why no response? Anyone? Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, I
You can
hope
continue.
you are getting the point. Yesterday I said you to complete two things, case 4 and case 5. You
Yes.
will do it or should I tell it?
You can tell it.
Okay, fine. So the two things are nothing but getting one student and getting all student. For that we have already created get student method here and get all students also here. Now the thing left is we need to call these methods in main. So just see how I'll do it. So fourth one is show student. So this will be all student. So I will do like this. So please listen carefully. So as we are going to get multiple students, that will be a list of students. So first I'm creating students, list of type students. So student is nothing but our class name in previous class. So list of students I'm going to get. That's why I'm okay. Do we have the first? Yes. And here the list of students and the list name I'm going to give is all students. And then this I am going to call using the object to student implementation. That is nothing but object. Here we have taken object where this one, this object to student implementation because the method is inside student implementation only. So that's why I'm taking object to student implementation. And object dot the method to access all the student is get all students. Here no parameters is required. You can see the method here also. This is directly giving all the students. So the thing we need to do is we should print all the student according to the order. So that I will do. Some other I have imported. One second. Where is that list? I want Java util list. This one. Okay. And now we have all the students in this list, so we need to print all them. For that, what I will do is just print a line, all students are, and then now traverse the list to print each and every student. So for traversing we can use for each loop, for loop, but as it is a list I am going for each. So I am taking the variable type that is student s, and it is from all student list. And now s will be having uh, s will be having a student at every time. Yes, we have already used. So I'm taking as S1. So S1 will have a student for every iteration. It will be having one student. So now I will print all the student using this S object. Println ID will be plus S1 dot get ID, and then similarly name and address. So just take this, and here name will be get name, and next one address. So address will be everyone don't leave. I will share attendance list link at the last. So please fill it and then we'll complete it. So every time we are going to print the student details. So I'll just take one more line for differentiation between students. So I'm just taking this line after every student. So when the list is empty, the loop will be completed. And this to print all the students. And now we have the task to one student according to ID. One student according to ID. That will do according to ID. Na, that's why we should take the ID first. So what I will do, system.out.println, enter student ID, whom details you want to see, like, so enter student ID, and we have the buffer reader to read the value now. So I'm just taking int SID equals to, the reading will be this one, and just paste here. So now SID will be having the ID of the student, uh, which student details we want. So according to this ID, we need to get the values. So how will get it? We have the method to get student according to ID now. So we'll use it simply. Before that, we write a statement, println details of student with ID plus SID. So particular student with this particular ID details are below, like that we are printing a line, and then using this ID will get the student. So for that we have this method. So what I will do, I'll just get students now, that's why I'm using GS, and object dot get student, here we'll be passing our ID, that is SID. So now this GS will be having a student with this particular ID. Now we can access this GS and print the student values. So I can copy these three lines. Where is this one? So I can print here using GS now. Get student will be here. GS only have the details of student with ID SID. So everywhere I will change the object. And now we are able to print the student values. Let me save this and run the code. So now we'll be seeing, first one thing we do, we see all the students. So all the student is in the 4. If I click, we can see only one student is there, that is we have inserted yesterday 10 Raman Hyderabad. This one we have for now. And now we'll insert one more student, that is I'm taking the option 1, and I will enter ID 30 and name Kushi, and then Hyderabad address Chennai. So now we have inserted one more student. And if I go to check all the students, enter 4, now we can see 2 students, that is Ram here and Kushi here. This is how we can see the insertion is successful and getting all the students also successful. And now one more thing we'll do, we'll view one student according to ID. So if I enter 30, we should get Kushi only. So see, this one, details of student with ID 30. In between the query got executed and the details are here. ID 30, name Kushi and Chennai. And if I go to update also, second option, what I will do, I will just take the ID 30 and I will take name same Kushi, but address I will change to Delhi. And now if I see all the students, you can see Kushi address here changed and everything is fine. One thing delete also there, na? So let me take 3 and now I will enter 30 ID. Now I wanted to delete Kushi. So here you can see the message student deleted successfully. And now if I go to see the students, we'll be having only one student because Kushi got deleted just now. And if I choose anything else, I will get invalid choice. Please try again. If I choose 6, I will get exiting the system. Thank you. So now we have completed this ORM Hibernate example successfully. Is it clear for everyone how every operation is working fine?
Yes.
Please respond anyone.
Yes.
Is this completely clear?
Yes.
Respond boys.
Yes, I clear. It is clear, ma'am.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay.